We've witnessed some truly amazing moments in hockey's history. No matter how old those memories are, hockey fans worldwide still get excited when they think about them. Hockey has many superstars, and they're the ones who create these magical moments that their fans cherish forever. In this video, we'll discuss some of hockey's most iconic and unforgettable moments. Let's get into it. First up at number 20, a coach plays as a goalie. If you've ever seen the NHL, coaches are probably going crazy on the sidelines. You don't see the coach deciding to come off the bench and play themselves. But that's exactly what happened at the Stanley Cup Final in 1928. Rangers coach Lester Patrick decided to play as a goalie himself when the team's main goalkeeper got injured. What makes this more special is that this was Lester's first time playing that position in the league, since he didn't play as a goalie during his playing days. But just one more time, he padded up and helped his team as a player. And the most surprising thing was that his team went on and won the final, with Lester only giving up one goal. That's impressive for a first-timer if you ask us. At number 19, Bob Bond's broken leg winner. Players sometimes pull off such things that we could only imagine. Something similar happened in the 1964 Stanley Cup Final when Bob Bond was removed from Game 6 because of a broken leg. But an injury wasn't going to hold Bond back because it's just a broken leg. Bond returned to the game in overtime and surprisingly scored the winner of that game. His team, the Maple Leafs, defeated the Red Wings and won Game 7 to take home the Stanley Cup. Bob Bond was a defenseman, so he wasn't a regular goal scorer for his team. He never scored over 8 goals in a single season. To score the winner as a defenseman for your team with a broken leg is just miraculous. Moving on to number 17, with the time when Willie O'Ree made history. Willie O'Ree made all people of color proud when he became the first black player in NHL history. Some credit also goes to his team, Boston Bruins, for breaking the color barrier when they signed him. But still, it was mostly Willie that did the work. Even though his playing career wasn't as long as he hoped it would be, he still made history and was now an ambassador of hockey. He's also given back to his community by promoting diversity and running programs that help minorities make their way into the NHL. Up next at number 16, the greatest comeback in NHL history. NHL fans have no clue how it happened, but it happened. When the Los Angeles Kings and Edmonton Oilers faced each other, everyone knew LA was simply no match for the stacked Oilers roster. It all happened in Game 3 of the best-of-5 series. Edmonton Oilers were winning the game 5-0 after 2 periods and looked set to win the game. Everyone thought the Kings would only try to score 1 or 2 goals to save their pride, but they had something else in mind. They played a remarkable game in the 3rd period, and with only 5 seconds left on the clock, the team managed to pull off the comeback of the century and tied the game. Steve Bozek scored the miracle goal to bring the score up to an even 5-5. Not only that, the Kings went on to win that game thanks to the winning goal by Darrell Evans, a truly remarkable feat. Coming up at number 15, Gordie Howe's insane return. Gordie Howe had a sensational NHL career and was undoubtedly a fan favorite. It was Howe's final NHL All-Star game, and his fans made the most of it. After being away for just 1 year, the player decided to return to the game to play in the WHA. Post-comeback, he played for the Houston Aeros and New England Whalers. Mr. Hockey was 51 at the time and wanted to play just 1 more year in the NHL. Howe's fans gave him a send-off that he'll always remember in his final game. During the legendary player's introduction, the crowd burst into an ovation that lasted for minutes. It was so long that Howe himself had to go to the stands and stop his fans. This goes on how much he meant to the league. Following up, when Ray Burke's dream finally came true at number 14. In his 21-season-long NHL career, Ray Burke never won a Stanley Cup, even after being one of the best NHL players. But his fate still had something special planned for him. In 2000, he was transferred to the Colorado Avalanche, where he won his first ever Stanley Cup only a year later. At number 13, we have to talk about Mario Lemieux defeating cancer. Mario Lemieux was in his prime when he was forced to retire from hockey mid-season. He announced that he was suffering from cancer and had to leave the game to undergo treatment. It was a sad day in the NHL, but when you have the willpower and determination to do anything, you can make the impossible possible, and that's what Lemieux did. He successfully defeated cancer to add 1 more win to his career. The player made a comeback to the NHL, scored a goal, and gave an assist in his first game. At number 12, Jágr achieves a landmark feat. Jaromir Jágr is an icon of the game. He gave the NHL and his fans something special when he scored the 500th goal of his NHL career in 2013. Moving on to number 11, Gretzky scored 50 goals in 39 appearances. Wayne Gretzky is considered the greatest hockey player ever by some fans. The cherry on top of his wonderful NHL career was when he scored 50 goals in 39 NHL games in 1981. At number 10, New York Islanders versus Washington Capitals. In the 1987 season, the New York Islanders versus Washington Capitals game game was one for the ages. It's right up there with the greatest games in NHL history. It was a never-ending game, and it's the longest Game 7 in the history of the Stanley Cup. The game started on Saturday night and finished the next morning. Truly something for the history books. Coming in at number 9, Boston Bruins play too many men. The Boston Bruins had a 1-goal lead against the Montreal Canadiens when they were penalized for too many men on the ice. After that moment, the semifinal slipped away, and Montreal went on to win the game for their 4th consecutive Stanley Cup. Let's look at number 8, with the New York Islanders' first Stanley Cup win. The New York Islanders won their first ever Stanley Cup in 1980, and Bob Nystrom was the one who did it for them. In a nail-biting thriller against the Philadelphia Flyers, Nystrom scored the winner for his team. Up next at number 7, a controversial Stanley Cup win for Dallas. Dallas won the Stanley Cup in 1999, but some fans still think they didn't deserve it. Brett Hull scored the winning goal against the Buffalo Sabres. Sabre fans still get angry at that moment because Hull's skate was in the crease when he scored the goal, and according to the rules of the NHL, an offensive player can't be inside the crease. That goal remains one of the most controversial goals in NHL history. Next up at number 6, Paul Henderson's wonder goal. Paul Henderson's goal for Canada against the USSR is still the most famous in NHL history. With only 34 seconds left on the clock, Paul Henderson stepped up for Canada and scored a goal to win the series. Following up at number 5, a dark day for Soviet Union's hockey team. You won't believe us when we tell you this, but it's true. In 1980, the Soviet Union's hockey team was beaten by a team of unknown college hockey players. Yes, a college hockey team. The Soviets were a team that had defeated a team of NHL All-Stars just 1 year ago. The college guys just showed up and stunned the Soviets with a 4-3 win over them. Let's learn more about Bobby Hull's 7-minute standing ovation at number 4. In 1966, Bobby Hull did something in the NHL that's never been done before. He scored 54 goals in a single NHL season. Bobby Hull was the first ever player to do this. After this mega feat, he also received a 7-minute standing ovation we can honestly never forget. Moving on to number 3, Mark Messier wins it for New York. The New York Rangers were without a Stanley Cup for 54 years. Their drought finally ended in 1994 when Mark Messier guaranteed a win for his team after a sensational all-around performance. At number 2, Bobby Orr's photograph. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr won the Stanley Cup for his team after an outrageous moment. He was flying through the air like a bird after scoring the winner. That picture remains the most famous hockey picture. Finally, at number 1, Montreal makes it 5 consecutive Stanley Cups. No team has come close to what Montreal did from 1956 to 1960. They won the Stanley Cup for 5 straight years. Something like this has never been done before, and we doubt it'll happen in the future too. That's a wrap for this video. What's your favorite NHL moment? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.